You are listening to The Objective Jerk, where objectiveness is the objective, and I am said jerk. What's up? This is The Objective Jerk, and I'm said jerk. How's everybody doing? This is my part two, which is not really a part two, but I'm recording two podcasts back to back, and I've never done that before. They're not connected in any way other than the fact that it's me. So I already did the other one. That one is being uploaded, and now I'm going to talk about what I was originally wanting to talk about. Anyway, so, and this one I'll be able to post on YouTube. Or, I mean, I can post it, but it'll get buried. Nobody will watch it. I wonder, I was thinking about that. I was like, what if I put, hashtag all this stuff? I'm sure they probably, when people hashtag it wrong to make people go to it, and then they see that it's like false advertisement, if they I'm sure you probably get in trouble or something. I don't know. But anyway, so talk about Zack Snyder, right? Anybody that watches films knows who Zack Snyder is. Maybe not. One thing that you do know, maybe except for Dawn of the Dead and the Owl movie, it's a Zack Snyder film. You know what I mean? Like, you can watch him like, oh, this is Zack Snyder, without even really knowing. He does have a style. But I'm not like, there are some people that are just like straight up gargling anything that Zack Snyder does, and I'm not that. But I'm also not like hating anything he does either. You know what I mean? Again, like, I'm kind of in the middle. I pretty much like or enjoy most of his movies. As I said before, when I rate something, it's like, would I watch it a second time and would I buy it? So he's got a couple movies that I enjoyed the first time around, but I wouldn't watch it again, or I wouldn't care to watch it again. And then there's, a couple that I wouldn't buy. Maybe one. Yeah, I think there's like two. The rest, I don't know. We'll talk about it more later. But so that's kind of how So, like many people, I don't. I've been very disillusioned with Hollywood and Disney, Marvel, all that kind of crap. Because the crap movies they've been putting out, it turns, I don't even waste my time giving a movie a shot. I have to, one, be interested, and two, have someone whose opinions I respect, whether it's a friend or a YouTuber, to go ahead and watch it. Like the Prey movie with Predator. I didn't care much for it. The trailer, I think they did a bad job. And then the Critical Drinker talked about that it's actually not a bad film. And so I watched it, and I did like it, I mean, it's not the greatest thing ever, but it was enjoyable. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But, 300, Watchmen, Dawn of the Dead, those are all Zack Snyder films. Because of those films, I'll pretty much watch a Zack Snyder film. I mean, not blindly, but, I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a shot. And, maybe even I'm excited to watch it. Okay, so to say I'm in the middle is maybe not accurate. I'm probably leaning more towards fanboy. You know what I mean? But I don't consider myself I couldn't just watch nothing but Zack Snyder films all day long, because the slow motion and stuff would get kind of old, you know what I mean? But so these people like Neurotic and all the people that he kind of, they have multiple whatever, and what's his face, the Critical Drinker, like, they hate Zack Snyder. I mean, they don't hate all his films, from what I can tell. But they just, it seems kind of like, especially like with the Rebel Moon, they just really, um, like they really looking for something to bitch about it, because I think they get more views and more interaction when they do shit on a movie. So and right now it's much easier to shit on movies, you know. Now, granted, you know, they maybe don't really like Zack Snyder's style, which is fine, but I just think there's a lot of unfair criticism that just seems kind of biased. You know what I mean? And you have people that there's extreme likes and dislikes. You know what I mean? From both sides. You got people that just, like I said, love anything and everything Zack Snyder, and they just sit at home and watch Zack Snyder films and whatever this, you know. And then you got people that just look for things to bitch about it instead of kind of, I don't know. So for me, I like to have a movie that doesn't pull me out of it. You know what I mean? I like to have a movie that will suck me in to the world where I'm watching and it entertains and it doesn't it doesn't pull me out of it with stupid politics or really stupid storylines or plot holes or certain things like that, you know. Um I mean I think it's kind of rare to find a movie that doesn't have a plot hole, but just the real, you know, the massive ones where it's like, what the hell? You know, things like that kind of pull me out of it. And those are the films that I don't like. Um, but the thing is like, you know, Rebel Moon, it gets shit on by. That's the thing too, is like neurotic and I keep thinking of Critical Drinker, right? Those individuals, they shit on critics, but then when the critics shit on a film that they want to shit on, then they're like, "Oh, look, even the critics." It's like, well, you know, I don't give a fuck about the critics. I don't care. I mean, I guess Neurotic and Critical Drinker are critics to an extent, but they don't, you know, as far as I could tell, they don't get little hand me downs and this and that. You know, I kind of think they're getting a little too big for their britches, you know, and they're getting more and more popular, and they're kind of thinking that they are becoming, you know, the ultimate gatekeeper kind of. That's, I don't know. And it's more, I see that with Zack Snyder films. So, you know, Zack Snyder was on Joe Rogan a while back. I think I did listen to it. I was out in the garage doing stuff, so I didn't like completely absorb everything. But I mean, you know, I listened to it, and I remember hearing it. And then like a lot of the critiques is that, you know, Zack Snyder pointed out that this many views of Rebel Moon on Netflix, and if you times that by $10, which is the price of a ticket, it would make like, you know, $1 billion, or it'd make a lot more money than like Barbie or whatever, right? And people are like, "Oh my god, he's so full of crap," and it's like, well, no, he's not full of crap. It's just simple math. You know, there was this many views. Multiply that by a, you know, a movie ticket. It's not hard. It's not difficult. The thing is would it have that many views if it was in theaters, though? You know what I mean? I think you get a lot more people giving it a shot and watching it because it's in their home streaming as opposed to going to the theaters. You know what I mean? So there's a little bit of a balancing. You know what I mean? So if it was just released in theaters, I don't think it would have got as many views. I think it would have done fairly okay, maybe. I don't know. The thing is, and I don't want to talk too much about. Well, I'll talk about it later when I do my film, because I'm gonna do like I did with the Tarantino films and very poorly describe the films. And again, I haven't watched I mean, I watched the Rebel Moon Part 2 is the most recent film I've seen. But yeah, so that's kind of it as far as that goes. So I'm gonna talk about the films, right? And I don't count the Zack Snyder one, the Justice League that Josh Whedon did, because that thing was trash. And I mean, although he started it, whatever. But since he released the Snyder cut, then I don't even look at that other one as a Snyder film. Anyway, so I'm going to start with my least favorite Snyder film, talk about it a little bit, and then go down to the next one, all the way to my favorite Snyder film, my most favorite, right? So here we go. So my least favorite Snyder film, as of now, is Army of the Dead. Wait, is that what it's called? I should pull it up, I guess, huh? Oh, did I record on my video? Oh, I did. Okay. Woo. I was going to have to redo that all over again. Okay. Army of the Dead, right? So this came out in 2021. So halfway through the bullshit COVID, or towards the end, I guess, maybe. I don't know. It's different for me here being in the Philippines, but I remember being pretty excited when I saw that this was coming out, because like I said, I am a fan of Zack Snyder. I'm not a Snyder boy or whatever you want to call it. I'm not a fanboy, but I am a fan. I do generally like his films. So I was excited for this film, and I do not like it. I think I even watched it twice just to kind of see, maybe because, sometimes you'll go into a movie and you just have these super high expectations. And then when it comes out, you're just like, what? Or I went to movies where I've had really low expectations and I'm like, oh man, that's pretty good. That's way better than I thought. So, I watched the film. I did not like it. 6 months, maybe even a year after it came out, I watched it again, and it's still kind of the same. It didn't, I guess, I don't know. It kind of seemed like it was, the opening scene was awesome. Like, it almost seems like it should have started with that. Like, this maybe was like a film series, and maybe it should have started with the breakout and then showing the beginning part of it. And like the Army of the Dead would have been like the third film in a franchise or something. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know. There was cool things about it, I guess. The blurry lens thing. I know he's like a big photographer, cinematographer, like he likes, and I appreciate that. I like some of his, people get pissed about his slow motion things, and I like it. It's almost like a really great picture that's like the HDR pictures or something that, I don't mind the slow motion stuff. I can get why people get turned off by it, but I don't mind it. But the blurry thing kind of bugs me a little. I don't really like the blurry, especially so much of it. I don't know. But I don't know. It just, it's maybe the characters weren't, I don't know. I'm not, I can't articulate, like a film critic about these films. I can explain I mean, kind of. I mean, sometimes I can't. I can't explain. I just know I didn't like it. I was disappointed in the film, which is why it's my least favorite film of Zack Snyder's. So, all right, next film would be Legend of the Guardians: The Owls of Ga'Hoole. I saw this when it first came out on video. I had this job, security job. It was a pretty good job, actually, for an army installation that did like chemical testing and various things in the middle of nowhere. They used to joke and call it Area 52. Most I was working a gate, and on weekends when there wasn't much going on, because you would work with somebody else, so you could kind of get away with watching a film and still do your job. And I mean, you have to pause it a lot and whatever, which is kind of annoying. But anyway, that's when I saw this film, and it's more of a family-oriented film. I remember thinking that visually it was very cool. I don't even remember the story or anything. If it comes out on Netflix, I'd probably watch it with my kids. even though they're a little older now, maybe they would like it. I'd give it another shot, but it wasn't. I wasn't like, oh wow, you know. I didn't even know it was Zack Snyder till like years later or something. I was like, oh, I didn't know he did that in film. But anyway, so yeah, so that's why that's my, you know, my next least favorite. All right, so next then would be, so from here on out, I like all the films. It's just I like certain films more than others, right? So next would be Rebel Moon. And Rebel Moon 2 to I mean cuz I don't know, like Rebel Moon by itself, I could kind of get, like if Rebel Moon was just released as it was and that was it, no planned part 2, no nothing. I mean, I guess this would still be where it's at. But I could kind of see why, cuz the movie part 1 by itself is really kind of not much going on, you know. It's like it's, you know, them getting together and this and that. I don't know, I kind of think they should have released them together. You know what I mean? Because part 1 and part 2 make more sense as one movie. I mean, it's a long ass movie, but you know, it it makes better sense for me anyway. Um, Now, you know, a lot of the criticism is like it's nothing new, and which is true. It pulls heavily from Seven Samurai, or it's the old Japanese. Yeah, I think it's called Seven Samurai. Anyway, it's like it's what Magnificent Seven is based off of, the original Magnificent Seven. So it's an old story. Story's nothing new. You know, there's nothing exceptional about the overall story. It's a basic, simple story at its heart. But, you know, it has a lot of cool characters, decent characters, a whole nother world. So the thing that, for me, like I haven't seen Dune. Dune's even on Netflix, and I haven't watched it. Mainly because the main actor, the guy bugs me. And I don't know why. I can't explain why. I just have no urge to watch a film with him as the main character in it. Everyone else in it I like, but also sci-fi movies or fantasy movies that are just so completely their own world has never been appealing to me. Like I like a little bit of our world or things that we know, you know, a little more reality grounded based, you know. So like with Rebel Moon, you got the farmers and you got the houses which look, you know, European old. Some stuff is like Viking, the longhouse, and you know they're farmers and the grain, and there's lots of things that you can either relate to or you've seen before in our culture, our history. You know what I mean? And then add some sci-fi to it. So for me, that's always been easier for me. You know, like this, you know, like Star Wars. Star Wars had like some retro kind of style things to it, but yet it was in the future. Star Trek was very more, you know, really crazy sci-fi, which I was never a big Star Trek. I mean, I like some of it, but I like Dune is just like so weird. It's creative and all, but that's just for me personally. That's never been attractive to me as far as like sci-fi. You know, I like more fantasy sci-fi than just straight up sci-fi. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense. So I don't really have an urge to watch Dune. Um, Even though, you know, I have not heard a bad thing about him. It just I don't know. Someday maybe my kids want to watch it. Hey, watch this with me, Dad. Then okay, I'll sit down and watch it, and I'll probably be like, oh, dude, this is so awesome. Which is probably the case. It's just I don't know. I just don't watch anything and everything anymore. Um, but yeah, so Rebel Moon 1 and 2, I I was excited, you know, when it was coming out. You know, I understood that it was kind of based off of a Star Wars idea that Zack Snyder had, but was turned down. So, and you obviously do see a lot of Star Wars type, so there's not a whole lot of originality with this film, but it's entertaining. It's visually appealing. It's not perfect. It's not great. I mean, it's not great. It's not perfect, but it's entertaining. Um, I'd watch it again someday. I'm waiting for the R-rated to come out, and I'll watch that and see where that takes me. But that's so, I enjoyed the movie because it took me out of my life, and I was engaged in what was going on, and I enjoyed it. It's not groundbreaking. It's not like, I remember watching like The Matrix in theaters when it came out in '99, and to me that movie was like, whoa, mind blowing. Whoa, just Rebel Moon is not that. It's not as bad, I think, as people try and make it out to be, because it is very popular, getting a lot of views, both of them. But I kind of wish they're put out together. I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see what the R-rated version is going to be, because I definitely like Zack Snyder's extended cuts of his films much better than what is released theatrically. But anyway, so yeah, Rebel Moon and 2, that's kind of their place. All right, so next would be Man of Steel. And I guess a lot of people just absolutely love this movie. And I think it's a great movie. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but this film actually made me like Superman more than I ever did. Like I was just on the shitter and I saw this photo and I took a screenshot. Hold on. And most crap that's on social media and Twitter. Holy crap, I'm at 21 minutes and I gotta hurry up. But most of it's like, you got the trolls, and then you got the people that are just trying to get engagement. So like they're saying things that they actually don't believe, but they're just saying it to get people to argue and whatever, this and that. So this guy, well, I guess he has it for great, I guess. I don't know. The way he has Zack Snyder's films, watchable, good, great, and masterpiece, is a little different than how I would go. But anyway, so Man of Steel. I didn't really care much when this was coming out, I remember. I thought it looked good, and I thought I would watch it eventually, but I've never been a Superman fan. I mean, not like I hated him. I just was like, Superman Returns was okay. I saw it, I think, in Iraq. So, I mean, I gave it a shot. But this film made me appreciate Superman more. It made me like him more. You know what I mean? I think, people are like, oh, he's so sad and this and that. But it's like, I actually liked that, he's trying to figure himself out. I hate the bumbling Boy Scout, oh, gee, golly, Superman that Reeves was, and what's his face for Superman Returns. That's why I never really got into it. So it was kind of nice to see Superman that has flaws, essentially. He had, maybe it was internal and mental flaws, but he was working on it. He's trying to figure things out. And I love the fact that it killed Zod, broke his neck. That was awesome. So I actually just bought this recently because I had watched it and then I didn't watch it for, when did this come out? 2013. So yeah, almost 10 years. And then I bought it and watched it, and yeah, I like it. It's a good film, I think. All right, so next would be Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, the extended cut. For me, I have not seen the original or the theatrical cut. I only saw the extended cut because that's what I ordered on Vudu or whatever. So a lot of things that I heard that people said didn't make sense, like plot holes. Those plot holes were filled with the extended cut. I liked the film a lot. Seeing Wonder Woman on screen was cool. I loved this take on Batman. I'm one of the people that really, I don't think he's the greatest of all time, but just visually, I don't, or I mean, I just liked where it was. It was, people are like, oh, Batman doesn't kill. It's like, well, he's killed a lot in the comics. Actually, it's not like Zack Snyder invented Batman killing. Um, and then to me, it was just like he was so disgruntled, he just didn't care. And then I saw it as like if they progressed with his character, he would have went back to his non-killing because he was disgruntled and angry, and then Superman kind of showed him how you can be good even in a shitty world, or what, you know what I mean? Like there was an arc that was being worked, but we didn't get a chance to see it. Um, the only thing though I didn't like was I did not like what's his face as Jesse Eisenberg. I didn't like him as damn Luthor. Luthor. That was about the only thing I didn't like. But other than that, I like that film. It's pretty good, I think. I like it. All right. Next would be Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I'm not a huge DC fan. I love Batman. I grew up with Batman. But as far as like comics and stuff, I was always into Marvel more. But so the Justice League was pretty cool. I think I saw both of them. The Joss Whedon one sucks. This one is much, much, much better. Yeah, it's a little long. You have to be in the mood and be ready to like not do anything for a while. What is it? 6 hours? How long is it? I kind of forgot. But I think it's entertaining. I bought it. Oh, so that's the other thing. I keep forgetting to rate these. So Zack Snyder or Army of Dead, I've only seen once. No, I saw it twice. That's right. But that's it. Rebel Moon. I did kind of rate that, I guess. So Man of Steel, I watched it once, and then I ended up buying it. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Batman vs Superman, the extended version, I bought it. Zack Snyder's Justice League, I bought it. So that kind of shows you like how I like it or not. It's I don't know. I think it's not as good as Watchmen, but it's up there, I think. Well, obviously it's up there in my list, right? But if the Joss Whedon one hadn't existed, I think this one, I don't know, it just kind of ruins it a little, sort of. You know what I mean? But anyway, so not much else to say. I'm glad they released it. I wouldn't mind if Netflix let Snyder do a Batman film with Affleck and stuff. I would rather somebody write the screenplay. Like I don't mind Zack Snyder coming up with a story, but everybody knows his strength is visuals. So I'm hoping that whoever wrote, the people that wrote Batman versus Superman, I think was the writers were, I think what's his name, S. Goyer, whatever his name is. So if he gets the same people to come on to write like a Batman film, then that would be cool. I would still watch, like if the people that wrote his Rebel Moon were to write a Batman, I'd be a little disappointed in that, but I'd still watch it. But who knows? You never know, right? Okay. I'm at almost a half hour already. Crap. All right. So next film is Sucker Punch. I like Sucker Punch. A lot of people don't. I guess they think it was like kind of degrading for women. I thought it was empowering. I mean, I don't know. I think, it's a whole film of women being badass. I mean, yeah, they're dressed a little scantily or whatever, but, men are visual creatures. It's just the way it is. And I have the director's cut or extended cut of this. I thought it was cool. It's a little depressing, I guess, the story, but all in all, I think it's see, this is a little what do you call it? Unique or whatever. People are like, "Oh, Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, there's nothing new." Well, I think with Sucker Punch he did, and he was, screenplay by him and one other person. So this is one of the ones where he was heavily involved in the writing, that I think it works. So I enjoy this film. I watch it every couple of years or something, I would say. So, and like I said, I own it. But yeah, so there's that. Okay, next would be Dawn of the Dead. Now, the reason this is so far up there is because it was almost like Matrixy. It was like, whoa, it just blew you away, right? Um, when it came out, it was like, dude, zombies running? What? You know, um, so it was very entertaining. I've watched it probably 3 times, but I don't own it. I do want to buy it. I haven't yet. Um, but yeah, so this is a great movie. Visually, it's not, it's his first film, so it's not the whole slow mo Snyder, because it's his first one. They were probably, holding his hands up a little bit, holding his hands up, tying his hands. So, once this became popular, then he was able to have free reign. So, but yeah, I think this was one of those ones that really just kind of like, whoa, blew a lot of people away. So, next would be 300, which I think is the movie he did after. And this one obviously has, so you have Dawn of the Dead. When did this come out? I think it was 2004. Yeah, this was 2000. Yeah, so I think it's the next film. And this is like nothing but Snyder. But it was groundbreaking at the time, and it was nobody had seen it before. So, and it worked really well because he just basically recreated the comic book. And it's a great film. It's not one I can watch super often. You know what I mean? I do own it, but, I could go a while without watching it. I do love it, but I don't know. Like, it's hard to, like, I love the relationship uh, Leonidas has with his wife and stuff, and, some of the stuff is very masculine, kind of whatever. And I think this is why a lot of people on the left gives Snyder hate, is because this movie's just full on, oh man, movie. But it was cool. I like it. All right, so my favorite film of Snyder's so far is Watchmen, which I think is, for a lot of people, it's that a lot of people, it's Watchmen or 300. Some even people have Sucker Punch, which I like them, But for me, I think Watchmen is his best film, and screenplay is not by him, which I think helps. But yeah, this film's awesome. I have the direct. I own it. I own the director's cut or extended, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Supposedly they're gonna redo it, or he's gonna even do another release, and I'm just like, oh man, come on, killing me. But I think this film is great. Just the story and the world building and the visuals and stuff. This is like, this movie just works really well with the Snyder style. You know what I mean? I think like people like with Rebel Moon, like the whole, when they're harvesting the wheat and a lot of it's slow motion, people are like, oh my god, really? Yeah, I can get that. Like I can understand why they would be like, you know, come on. But at the same time, I like it. It's not as good as Watchmen. I think I like it better when he does slow motion of like really important kind of parts of the story, which the wheat was a big part of the story, I guess you could say. Um, but it was not enough to where the whole thing was slow mo. I don't know. I think they could have filmed that whole scene and just had maybe the one part of them throwing it up, and then where he's filling up his flask with the water with slow mo. Everything else, leave it as is. I think would have been fine. But the slow motion and Watchmen and the fight scenes and just the kind of character, I don't know, visual. It's pretty cool. It's a good movie. It's kind of depressing, I guess you could say, but it's pretty good. But yeah, so that's it. So my most favorite, just to break it down, favorite Snyder film is Watchmen. Then the next would be 300. Then would be Dawn of the Dead. Then Sucker Punch. then Zack Snyder's Justice League, then Batman versus Superman, then Man of Steel, Rebel Moon 1 and 2, and then at the bottom 3 would be the Legends of the Guardians. Or no, I guess the bottom 3 would be Rebel Moon, but really the only ones I don't really care much for is Army of the Dead and Legends of the Guardians. The rest of the films I like. I like, some more than others, but I enjoy them. You know what I mean? So, generally speaking, if Snyder's releasing a new film, I'm going to watch it. Unless it just seems completely horrendous. It's like something stupid, like some kind of romantic comedy, like Bros or something. Then I might not. But I don't really see him doing that. But that's it. That's my take on Snyder and his films, I guess. Let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, or your opinion. All right. Thanks for listening this long, and I'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye. Hey, do me a favor, and however you're either listening or watching this, please give it a like or subscribe or follow or whatever. And then, do me another favor and give me a little comment. Let me know what you think. Or, just a thumbs up, I guess. Whatever. It all helps. I appreciate it. And have a good one.